Alright, hey there everyone. I'm gonna turn this down just a bit. Forgot just how loud these can be. Here we go. Hey there everyone. Also Sari here. Let's see what this looks like. So, CYL this year is going to be interesting. Corrin is probably the one that I've been looking forward to over time the most. Gulveg is the one that I'm most interested to see the design of. I'm hoping that they go a little less on the fan service for her design, but we'll see. Corrin I'm looking forward to. Soren is going to be great, I'm sure. Oh, we start with Corrin. Volite Corrin then. Okay. I saw some people predicting this for her outfit. And she's going to be a dragon, too. She looks good. Ooh, okay. Oh wait, hold on. What does this do exactly? Okay, so we've got Accelerate Special... So she's got Slaying. She's got... At post-canto or after action, she applies a Dragon Vein to her tile and spaces next to her for 1 turn. So she basically carries a portable defense tile. Oh, wow! Okay, that's a very, very cool weapon. And this works on every action. She doesn't actually need to use an attack. She doesn't have to attack. This says after acts, so if she uses a basic move, if she uses an assist, this all activates. Oh, that's going to be a really cool weapon. And then during combat, she has the basic spectrum of stats. She has full null follow-up and first hit DR. Oh no, that's not first hit DR, that's just flat DR for every hit. Oh, she looks really good. I don't know if she's going to be more of a support-focused unit. That Divine Vein looks really, really useful for supporting any of your units. Wait, it's within 2 spaces! Oh, I thought it was just adjacent! Okay, so if it's within 2 spaces, you're going to need to start being a little more careful with where you put this. Oh, okay, and she's got a B skill, A skill. Okay. So what's this A skill do? Distant counter with 7 spectrum of stats and the first hit DR that works on brave hits as well of 7. Oh, she's looking really good. Wow. That's gonna be great. So we'll have to see how this works with... Oh, new inheritable B skill. This looks like it's going to be a dragon exclusive skill, and that is really useful. Ooh, that's very useful. Post-combat healing, damage reduction, and extra damage on hit. Soren! Oh, we are getting Arcsage Soren. Oh, he looks so good. He looks so good. I'm so glad they got Kita Senri for this. Okay, so he's got Slaying. Wait, they pulled this out of Engage, didn't they? Foe's range equals unit's range, and foe initiates Wait, what? He gives Savior to... Oh, okay, Soren is going to just be so broken. So he's a Savior beacon. He can make anything a Savior, though, which is the most ridiculous part about him. He can turn infantry units into Savior units with this. So if you have a melee ally, let's use Ike as a very good example for this. If you have a melee ally here, then he'll give that melee ally Savior against melee opponents who attack into Soren. If he also has a ranged buddy nearby, the ranged buddy will also be a Savior for Soren. Or, wait, I might not be reading this correctly. Here, I should let it keep playing, because I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so he applies it... Okay, so you're limited to support partner for this. So you're limited to his support partner, but he turns any of his support partners into a save unit. Yeah. Okay, so that's how it works, is that he gives Savior as a status effect to his support partner, and his support partner will act as a near or far save unit depending on their weapon's range. For anybody, not just for Soren. Oh, wow. Donatable save. That's going to be a really, really, really strong effect. Soren's going to be great. What else does he have here? He's got... Okay, so he's got the spectrum of stats, plus more stats based on highest bonuses of nearby allies. Oh, and he's also got dodge, too. Res-based dodge, looks like.
So you can rest easy if there's an ally nearby.
Oh, Soren is going to be so many kinds of bonkers. Okay, so what does this do? We've got 7 stats, so matching Corin with that. So the Mystic Boost effect for disables adaptive DR, or adaptive damage. And he gets more effects for having more res than his opponent. He can null guard, he can... Oh, okay, and he gets multi-hit as well. He gets multi-phase brave attacks, actually. That's as long as he meets the res check. He does have to meet that res check to get there, but 47 base... Oh, and he has Flare. Let's get to Flare. Hold on. Hold on. Soren has so many good skills. He's got... I didn't check on Corin's C skill. I was a bit distracted. So Flare... We've got 70%... Okay. 60% of foes res. And if unit has below 70%... Oh! It's adaptive. So if you're at high health, it's just a really high damage Glacies, basically. This is better than Glacies if you have high health when it triggers. If you're below that, it is slightly less than Glacies, but also restores 30% of your max health. Oh, that is an incredible special. I love it. And he's also getting Magic Null follow-up. So he's also getting Magic Null follow-up and Times Pulse 4. This guy is going to be an incredible piece of fodder for so many units. And also, I'm looking at this and just sort of rubbing my hands. I have a pretty decent bank of Rearmed Ophelias who have been waiting for Flare or a Mage Special to show up. This is going to be great. Alright, Gulveg. What did we do for you? Okay, I love this. They actually did go in on the non-fan service side of things. Like, obviously not completely, but she looks really good here. So she's got... Wow, that's a very short weapon description. I look at that and I'm thinking, wait, that's very short. So she's got Kanto Slaying. If she initiates or has a bonus, she gets stats More stats. Oh, okay, and she gets stronger the more turns have been taken. So up to 15 attack and speed by turn 5. She gets 20% of speed as true damage, including pre-combat specials, and full null follow-up. Honestly, that seems very tame.
Depending on the number of turns passed. The
It seems very tame for a CYL winner.
So she'll be able to dish out consistent damage to her foes.
Oh wait,
Her
what's this?
exclusive B skill?
Okay, so we're getting terrain effects that are applied from units now. I appreciate this. This is actually a really cool addition from CYL. So more stats from her B slot. If she has over 50% health and initiates, she gets kind of almost a Fallen Star level DR from the first hit. Specifically first hit, so she will be vulnerable to enemy phase brave attacks. But this also gets Raging Storm. Kind of. So it's more like Leaf's Gale Force, where you get gravitied afterwards, but it is a ranged unit with access to Raging Storm.
Unwinding. When she has half or more of her HP remaining and she initiates combat,
so what does... I'm guessing her inheritable skill is going to be the one that's doing the field effect.
She can also take an extra action once every 2 turns. Her A skill,
Flared Sparrow. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Oh wow, okay. So this is giving me... I don't know yet, but I'm guessing the impression here is that you'll get effects from these field skills if you have somebody on your team with that same effect. Like, Corrin has a different one. I don't remember what it categorized it as, but for Gulveg, hers is Divine Feign Flame. So I'm guessing that these can be used by either team on the battlefield as long as you have someone on your team with this skill. And this one is a hostile terrain effect for enemies. Okay. So it's a forest for ranged enemies. And it also bypasses things like Kadain Lind, who could usually help people get past forests without being slowed down. And it's a trap tile, basically. It's a classic Fire Emblem trap tile that deals damage at the start of turn and at start of combat. Oh wow. Ooh. That's a very solid effect. I'm not even looking at the base part of it. It's... Oh, she just does +7 damage before anything else happens during rest of combat. Oh. I wonder if this can disable skills that rely on you being above a certain health threshold. If it can turn people's perfs off by dropping them below 25% and then starting combat, that could be really strong. Also +7 attack speed, and then the post-combat for the ground effects.
when she initiates combat, and can deal 7 damage to her foe once combat begins.
It's actually very cool that they've already made this an inheritable effect. That hits such a big area, wow.
And obstructs their movement too. Between an additional action and a divine vein, the Golden Seer has the potential to be a powerful force on the battlefield.
This is going to be really neat.
I've come this far thanks to not only my successes, but also
and Robin. Oh, he's got Levin Sword.
Robin is the
Wait, is that Levin Sword?
division.
That does not look like the Levin Sword I remember.
Exalt's tactician have a special outfit, but he's also wielding a sword given to him by Crom. Robin's weapon skill is Deliverer's
So he has a
Blade.
sword. So we have our token god sword of the banner. No slaying on this. Interesting. So he's got stats, he's got first hit damage reduction, he's got full tempo, And he wants to use a really high cooldown special, so Luna or higher kind of special. Or I guess Bonfire if we want to keep in theme with Robin. So he has Pierce when using special. Wait, hold on. Yeah, when unit special triggers, he pierces. Oh, and okay, he wants to use the Bonfire line, specifically the Bonfire line. And he gets adaptive damage. Okay, neat. So adaptive damage on his bonfires. Probably bonfires since it works on 3-count specials and he doesn't have slaying. Okay, what else he got, Robin?
25% or higher, it reduces the damage he takes from his foe's first attacks by 40%. On top of that, if he activates glowing
Rally Spectrum.
or Ignis, special skills which normally deal additional damage based on defense.
Okay, what is this rally spectrum you have, Robin?
His foe's defense or resistance. His B skill, Gambit 4, can both increase the damage.
This one is inheritable.
By up to 15.
That's a yellow border. So it's an inheritable B skill that's speed and def penalty on opponent. And if either unit has an attack that has a special that's triggered by attacking, he gets flat damage, so he gets true damage based on his own special cooldown count. So, assuming he's using Bonfire just as a as a base, he gets 5 true damage from that. If he's using Ignis, he gets 10. Ether gives him 15. And oh no, he is going to want to be using Ignis. Ignis gives him 40% DR. Oh, that's going to be really cool. And this is inheritable too. I wonder what the restrictions are. Okay, tip the scales. Gives Rally Spectrum. So if he's near an ally, grants Rally Spectrum to the nearby allies and himself. 5 space warp. So this is technically limited. It's technically not just giving out Wings of Mercy for free. But it is very, very close to giving himself Wings of Mercy to anyone with this status effect. And full spectrum of +3 as well. So Rally Spectrum is +5 stats during combat. And if you have an offensive special, grants... Oh. -X. So X is 1 if... So if you have multi-hit, and what it looks like is this scouts for cheating with it, so if you have triangle attack active, this is going to take effect as well. You only get 1 discount on your special if you have that. Otherwise, you get 2. Oh, okay, so multi-hit or slaying. If you have triangle attack, or just built-in brave, or any of that, and it's active, so I think if you have, let's say, a Brave Axe and you're enemy phasing, you would still get -2. But otherwise, you get -1 if you have slaying or multi-hit. Otherwise, you get a 2 charge discount on your special. Yeah, these are all looking really strong. Oh shoot, I'm trying to think and figure out who's going to be the most impactful out of all of these. It's important to remember here too that the allies who have Rally Spectrum don't get that warp effect. It is just Robin who has that. They're all looking really good though. Really, really good. Wow. Yep, 2 days. Well, a day and a half, I guess.
You'll be able to summon a free focus hero after 40 summons in the new hero summoning event. And you can do it again after 80, 120, and 160 summons too. That's up to 4 free focus heroes. Oh, and of course, there will be a free summoning event this year too, during which you can summon a 5-star hero of your choice. Better start thinking about who you'll pick. That reminds me, the Keepers of Faith free summoning event, featuring heroes from the Choose Your Legends Round 5 event, will end on August 30th. Don't forget to take advantage of that free summon. Say, don't we have a grand hero battle coming up?
Alright.
I'm Cyril. I'm always at Lady Rhea's.
Cyril, really? Oh wow, okay.
Yeah! The grand
Huh.
hero this time is Cyril from the Fire Emblem
Had to duck out
Three
for a
Houses
moment
game.
while they were just running down the
Archery
usual
skills
banner
doctor like
stuff.
Shamir, he fights to fulfill his duty to Lady Rhea.
He has vengeance. Wait, hold on. Go back a moment. What other skills does he have?
He fights to fulfill his duty to Lady Rhea.
Okay, so he has a perf at least. He's also got Sudden Panic as his B slot and Threatened Speed Death. Oh boy, they're really giving us good stuff on that one.
Grand hero battle Cyril.
He has an
Rhea's
Infantry
attack
Red Archer
begins
for
on
free though,
August
which is
17th.
neat. And depending on how his perf works, he could be fairly solid.
Aren't all these heroes wonderful? So many new effects.
Yeah,
so
I
many
think
unique and
I think
exclusive skills.
everybody here has a
I would have
lot of
cool.
interesting stuff going for them.
What's next? Oh, right.
Okay, and
Number
the
of
Dragon
times
Flowers
the
are going
power
up
of
again.
your heroes with dragon flowers is increasing starting around August 16th. Each hero
Well, I'm
will be
glad I
able
have
to
a
use
Dragon
them
Flower
5
bank.
more times.
I hope
Since
everybody
you
else's
can
Dragon Flower
strengthen
banks are
heroes
doing
more
well,
times
because,
with dragon
yeah, it
flowers,
feels like we just
there
need
will
more
be
and more every
1,000
time.
of each
Whoa.
type up for grabs in the next forging bonds.
Okay.
That's a total of
Okay,
4,000
that
dragon
is
flowers.
very much appreciated.
Sounds like your heroes could get quite a bit stronger.
I might actually be able to get all of my infantry units upgraded right away, which is a first.
I'd better get back to the castle.
Looks like that's everything for now, too.
Would you look at that? Everyone's gathered here. Oh,
I think I'm going to be
guess
trying
what
to pull
else?
for one of each,
To celebrate
honestly.
the appearance of the Choose Your Legends heroes, there's a website with a special story for you to enjoy. There's a
That'll
link
be
to
fun.
it in the video description.
Definitely
So
something
go
to
ahead
check out
and
later.
give it a look from there.
I love everybody's designs though. Art-wise, I think everybody came out
Choose Your Legends
really
heroes
well
all
this
look
CYL.
amazing though, don't they? I'm so excited. I hope you summoners will go on enjoying Fire Emblem heroes.
Yeah, the fodder is looking fantastic. I think I saw
Now then,
Magic Null follow-up and Times Pulse 4 on Soren. Robin has that new skill, which looks like it's going to be all kinds of silly. We've got some really good stuff across the board here. Okay, let me rewind and start taking a look at some of these. Corin.
it reduces all of her opponent's stats and can reduce the damage she takes by 30%.
Wait, is Corin an armored dragon? I saw Armored Flow in there.
Gallant. Corin's weapon skill is called Vala Stone.
She is an armored dragon. Oh, I could have sworn she was infantry. Oh, wait a minute, Corin's an armor unit? With all of this available? Oh, wow.
Spaces around Corin look very
Yeah, so she has Divine Vein Stone, and Gulveg's was Divine Vein Flame. We're probably going to have to wait and see what things look like after this goes live. I don't know if we're going to get definitive results until then, but like I said, I think what happens here is that these effects are applied based on whether or not you have this skill on somebody on your team. I could be wrong, and the color coding here might mean... I'll have to check on Gulveg's, but we'll see. If enemies can't take advantage of this effect at all, it's going to be very, very strong. You cut down on the damage from AoE specials, you cut down on enemy special damage, which is usually the most threatening attack, and you just get a passive extra 6 defense and res. I am also curious, I feel like Lucia is going to neutralize these effects because she does cancel terrain effects. So far, up until the CYL, that has only meant defense tiles, but I think she'll also cancel out the effects of these Divine Veins. So Corrin is an armored unit with a perf distant counter, the Divine Veins, which are just going... Honestly, she's always going to have this active no matter what, so you can basically just push this into the rest of her weapon, and she's effectively got 11 def res, plus the damage reduction on enemy specials, and another extra 5 in attack and speed on top. Also 50% to AoE damage reduction, and 30% of damage reduction in combat. She's looking fantastic. Honestly, really, really happy with Corrin. I've been hoping she would get into CYL for a few years now, so it's great to see her make it and turn out to be a really good unit. We fast forward a little bit. Let's see. Counter Roar is looking pretty good. I want to see here. Show me what her actual skills are. She has Armored Flow.
Damage from foe specials by 10 and from area of effect specials by 50%.
It's not... Oh, they're being very coy about this. They're not showing her skills. So she does have Distant Counter, and... It was what? Distant Counter and Stats. And flat damage reduction. For the first and second hits, if you've got Brave hits. And then this looks like a Dragon exclusive skill that's attack and speed penalties. First hit DR, first and second for Brave hits. Post-combat healing, and Corrin's sort of classic damage reflection. I wonder if there are going to be any restrictions on this other than Dragon, because this would be a really, really good skill for a lot of dragons. Specifically, funnily, her legendary variant, who is probably going to get a remix at some point in the near future. Yeah, okay, that's going to be a very cool skill. Now, what's her C skill? I would guess save. I'm guessing that she's going to have far save to go with the Armored Flow.
So many skills built around protecting her allies. Classic Corrin, if you ask me.
Yet they don't show you the rest of her skills. So rude. I do think that Soren specifically is going to be an incredibly strong unit. Because one of the biggest features for Soren is you only need one of him. You don't need him to be anywhere past +0 for him to give you a fully functional save unit of any movement type. And frankly, having infantry save units be a thing is going to be absolutely bonkers. Yes, we do have Embla, but Embla is one unit, and she's only in Dark Seasons, and she's not on every defense team. So, yeah, Soren is going to be really, really useful here. Just for... Oh wow, you can do so much with this. Like, just as an example, imagine Lucia, if Lucia has a save skill available for melee saves. I think, more importantly, you can get some of the other really, really strong God Swords, or even Brave Dimitri, let's say. You can support him with Brave Dimitri, and suddenly Brave Dimitri will cover all of the melee incoming, as long as he's within safe range. Absolutely wild. And you can do this for flying units, you can do this for infantry units. You can give this to somebody who has Nullsea Disrupt. To use an example that I've been really enjoying using recently is Legendary Guinevere, who has Nullsea Disrupt by default. If you support her with Soren, not only does she have Nullsea Disrupt for all of the various dazzles and sweep effects that ranged units like to use, she's also going to protect all of her nearby allies from those ranged units if they would try to sneak past her to get to them. Speaking of which, I'm probably going to be giving my Guinevere Flare and Magical Null follow-up in a couple of days. Looking forward to that. Yes, I think Corrin is going to be mostly a combat unit, I think, especially as an armor. You're not going to want her strictly as a support. I think she can function as a support, but she's going to want to be a carry. So I would say Corrin's probably a really good target if you're trying to merge one of these units, along with Gulveg. Possibly Robin too, but I think Corrin and Gulveg will be the big... You want to merge these to get the biggest value out of them. Soren and Robin, I think should work pretty well just at unmerged status. Soren especially is just going to be wild. I think he's going to be the most important one of you can get out of this entire set.
Soren's exclusive A skill is Rare Talent. If his resistance
Yeah, Rare Talent is his combat skill. And then Flare. Flare, I'm pretty sure this is just a mage exclusive special that can be used by any mage. It's going to be really good for, well, tanking mages. But it's also really good for, well, I'd say it's really good for any high-res mage. A lot of your glass cannon nukes, like, let's say, Legendary Veronica, even though she has her own perf special, those types of glass cannon mage nukes are not going to want to use that skill at all, because they won't have high enough res to make it work.
I wonder how she feels, wearing something that reminds her of the past. Gulveg's weapon skill is the cycle's turn.
So Gulveg is interesting. It's wild that I look at her and think that her weapon feels underwhelming compared to some of the others. It's really solid. It's got very easy conditions to meet. She actually activates this for herself, guaranteed, thanks to that attack speed oath, which means that she is an infantry mage. Interesting. She also will not want Flare. Here's a great Exhibit A of mages who will not want to use Flare because she just has 0 res to work with. 19 visible res. Duo should be really good with Flare, Regan. Yeah, especially if you use him as an enemy phase unit, he's going to be great with it. He's got enough res for it to be really solid damage-wise, and getting 30% of his health back as a heal is going to be really, really strong. Yeah, Gulveg is interesting. I do think she's going to be really strong as a sort of glass cannon nuke. Especially since, well, having an extra action available and giving herself ways to navigate around the gravity effect by having a built-in formation buff with that oath is going to make her very strong. I think she's going to be really good for hit-and-run strategies. I mean, it's funny that I say that because I actually just spent this last Astra week using mostly a hit-and-run strategy that I haven't really used before. Most of my hit-and-run has revolved around Legendary Claude. This week I was using Legendary Shez, so no gravity effect to cheese things and make it easier. And it was a lot of fun. Gulveg looks like she will fit right into that sort of a style, and also get an extra action to help you navigate the map. On top of having that new terrain effect, too. I hadn't even considered that, but she does have that by default. You don't have to inherit it. And that terrain effect is going to be really good for just slowing down an enemy team, especially those ranged cavalry that might be really hard to avoid otherwise. Yeah, I think she's going to be very solid. I need to see what her B skill is again. Let's see. So she does get first hit DR, and that should help her survive. Again, she's going to have a bit of a hard time attacking into a target like, let's say, Altina, who can just smack her on second hit, get through all of the DR, and finish her off. But I do think she's going to be pretty solid. I think I would rate her just at a glance right now, obviously, very, very early first impressions. I think I would rate her under Corrin as a combat unit, but I do think she's going to be very strong. Kanto 1 is going to be great for her too. I'm trying to see how she plays, and what she wants to do is jump in, snipe an enemy, get her extra action, and then use that Kanto 1 and Warp to jump back out and get way away from anybody who can reach her because of Flared Sparrow, which makes it a lot harder for any enemy ranged units to come in and attack her. Flared Sparrow is also going to be really strong for her specifically, since she can hit an enemy, drop that entire fire area, and then whoever she attacks next just instantly takes 14 true damage before the fight even starts, that they can't do anything about. So it makes it a lot easier for anything following up to secure knockouts. You just have to give her a safe combat as her first combat, and anything else that follows in gets, like, exponentially more lethal. Yeah, I do like her. Like I said, I'm not as impressed by her as I am by the other three at first glance, but I think that she's going to be extremely strong as well. I feel like they may have sort of tamed her down a bit, partly because we're probably getting Mythic Gulveg later this year. So there might be that as well. They kind of did that with Brave Tiki too, where they released Ascended Tiki later in the year, who just did almost everything Brave Tiki did but better, which felt really rough. Yeah, so he's got full tempo, the first hit DR, and Pierce on special. Sorry, Pierce and adaptive damage, as long as you're using the Bonfire Ignis on special. He does seem really... he seems like a different take on a God Sword, which I do appreciate. This is the sort of God Sword that I actually really do like to see. I don't know how well he is going to do in that class. He's got a lot of competition. But I like this because it's a different way to go, instead of just the usual speed stack. This B skill specifically opens up doors for a lot of units. Just as a sort of guess going ahead here, I think this is going to be a melee infantry locked skill, locked to sword lance axes. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to see this available for other characters, but I think it's probably a sword lance axe infantry exclusive skill. And I do think it's going to be a really neat tool, not just for Robin, but for basically any unit that doesn't necessarily have the speed stat to be a proper God Sword, the way that we're used to, but that can give them an option to compete at that level without necessarily speed checking their opponents. Especially for units without slaying. Units without slaying who just get 50% DR and 15 true damage per hit for using a 5 cooldown special. Specifically Ether, really. That's the only attack-triggered 5 cooldown special in the game. That I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. It's Ether and Gale Force that are at 5, and Gale Force won't trigger this because it's a post-combat special. This is a very cool skill, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it's used and how people use it. I could, kind of amusingly here, I could see this being a very good skill for Brave Dimitri. Brave Dimitri doesn't have slaying. You would want to use a higher cooldown special than you normally do, but you could slap Ether on him and give him 50% DR for having that just baseline, and then he's also doing 15 true damage per hit. he'd probably want to get null follow-up, but you know, now that I say it, I really like this idea of giving this skill specifically to Brave Dimitri. Because, yeah, it's going to be very, very strong for him. It's kind of like an upgrade as long as you're willing to use Ether instead of, say, Vital Astra or Godlike Reflexes. Yeah, that's a very, very neat B skill. I like it. Robin himself, I think, is... I don't think he's going to be quite on the same level as Soren is for a support unit as a one-of, but I do think he's going to be very strong in that role as well. Mostly because of this. Tip the scales, Rally Spectrum is just going to be really, really solid as you have +5 Spectrum to stats in combat. If you want a good comparison for this to just something that you might be familiar with already, look at Duo Asker, who offers a full spectrum of +4 to stats to his allies. Tip the Scales is actually very, very similar to this, but instead of follow-up denial for your first combat per phase, it gives you special acceleration. In combat special acceleration, a lot like your Brave Tiki pre-charge, or more recently Diamant with his pre-charge on initiation. This gives you that, and can give you -2 if you're not using a slaying effect or a brave attack. Yeah, I think he's going to be a really strong support just for this. As a combat unit, I think he'll be solid. I think, like Umbreon said in chat, I think there's a risk that he'll be outscaled as a combat unit, but I don't think that this skill's support utility is going to age badly. I think this support skill is going to be aged really, really well. And part of the fun with this is you can give this effect, a lot like Soren, to any unit. It's not locked to a movement type or weapon type. You can give this to anybody, including your glass cannon nukes, like cavalry archers, Shamir, who could really use some extra special acceleration and stats to tip the scales. He's also going to be very good at navigating a map. Like I mentioned earlier, this isn't quite just Wings of Mercy to everybody, but it is very close. 5 spaces, and then you can basically jump 6 spaces with this, as long as you have an ally at 5 spaces away. So he'll be very good at hit-and-run type of strategies, or just winging in to cause havoc if you use him on a defense team. And for Regan, yeah, reflexes will not work with Gambit. If we go back just a little bit here, here it is. So Gambit does work if your opponent's attack can trigger the special, but if you use reflexes, your special cooldown count is going to be at 1 for this consideration. So I guess it could, but then you are relying on your opponent to have a damaging type special for this to be active at all. And while that's not too uncommon, I don't think it's something you want to take a chance on. If we're using Godlike Reflexes as an example, though, and your opponent is using your Ignis, Ether, whatever, if they're using a damaging type special, then you would get 30% DR and 5 true damage per hit. But they would have to be using, again, an offensive special. Yeah, honestly, I think Robin's in a good spot, Umbreon. I think he's going to be really great as a support unit. I think I'd put him below Soren as a one of support, but he's very close, honestly. I think Soren is going to be insane just because, again, the ability to turn any unit into a savior is very strong. I think the only thing to consider with that is that you do have to use an ally support to enable it, and we are starting to see a lot more ally support effects, like Summer Ivy. Before that, we actually got Noah, who I did end up picking up as a pity breaker. Honestly, one of the better pity breakers to get. I think Noah's a really solid support option. But we are starting to see more of those effects, so I think we'll start seeing more competition for ally support as a mechanic going forward, and you're going to have to be careful with who you pick for each ally's support partner. Overall, though, great stuff this CYL. Really, really great stuff. It's looking fantastic.
Nicely with his weapon skill. Robin's exclusive C skill is Tip the Scales.
Oh, let me check too. I'm pretty sure we should have the... Yeah, here. So I'm going to shrink this for a moment and pull over the actual trailer, since that should give us our skills for everybody. Specifically for Corrin, I'm curious to see what they gave her exactly. I saw Armored Flow, and I did see... Well, she's got her new B skill. We didn't see her C skill. A Silent Bloodline.
I am certain now that the path I chose
Colorless Armored Dragon. Oh boy. Yep, so she's got the Volstone that we've already gone over. Armored Flow. And her having Armored Flow is really nice for anybody who hasn't pulled for a Harmonic Tiki, or is trying to merge her, and isn't interested in Corrin, since that gives you an easily accessible way to get that skill and inherit it. Possibly to one of many copies of Rearmed Robin, and then duplicate it from there. Oh, and she has attack speed far save as well. Suddenly I'm really, really grateful that I didn't pull for that back on the seasonal banner. Although, I am going to be wanting to merge Corrin, so... might be rough. Let me turn this down just a little bit. I'm a little horrified by how little damage that Arvel did. Jeez. Soren's going to be juicy for fodder too.
Fancy clothing won't disguise a lack of substance.
Yeah, infantry green mage. Yes, that is Soren. He is an infantry green mage. That is him. Yep, Magic Null Follow and Times Pulse and Flare. I want 2 Sorens out of this banner. One of them I am going to keep, one of them I am going to feed directly into Ophelia to start duplicating. And Gulveg is a flyer. Oh, she's a flying mage. Huh. Suddenly I'm very grateful that her perf is a B slot. Flying mages, I mean, it does mean you can't use Desperation for her, unless you donate it with the Firestorm Dance. But she does have that first hit DR to help make up for it. These terrain skills, I'm glad you mentioned those, Regan, because I do think these terrain skills are going to be really, really neat, and we're going to start seeing a lot of them going forwards. I would be surprised if we don't see a terrain skill attached to whoever this month's mythic is. I think it's a mythic. Wait, no, we just got Freyr. It should be a legendary. Okay, so it might be a little while before we see these on mythics.
I've come this far thanks to not only my successes, but also my setbacks.
Yeah, legendary Hinoka-enabled Gulvegs are going to be a little bit scary. Oh, he even comes with a attack speed finish. Oh, wow. That's great to see, I missed that, and yeah, Robin's going... Okay, we've got great fodder across the board here. So fodder-wise, you either have attack speed far save and a new dragon skill, and armored flow on Corrin. You have Flare, Magic Melt follow-up, and Times Pulse 4 on Soren. Their names sound very similar. So Corrin has the save skill, dragon skill, and armor skill. Soren has Flare, which is looking very fun for anyone with high res as a mage. Yeah. Oh, CYL is looking fantastic this year. Really liking it. And I think part of why I appreciate this is the weapons are strong, but they don't feel really out there compared to the weapons that we have right now. They haven't just sort of run away completely with this. The terrain skills may be something that's going to really accelerate power creep, and I do think that having access to those in your barracks is going to be important over the next several months. Bright side is that Corrin is available, and sparkable if you don't pick her up as a freebie. Yeah, overall I like this as a hero fest, sorry, as a Choose Your Legends. I'm personally going to be going for 2 Sorens. I want one to feed to Ophelia, and I want one to keep as a support unit. I think I would like to have Robin available as another support unit, but I don't think I'm going to be merging him up. I think he and Soren both I'm going to be happy to have as +0. Corrin I'm definitely going to want to merge. I like Corrin a lot. I've merged her up to +10 a few times, and I would like to do it with this one too. Probably not going to be doing that right away. I'm going to wait for the Hero Fest next year before I make any attempts at that. Gulvig I might end up wanting to merge up as well. She's a really strong flying mage, and I don't have a good blue flying mage yet. I think that's a hole in my barracks that she's going to end up filling. It's good stuff. Hero Rises... Wait, are you talking about the Hero Rises or Hero Fest, Umbreon? Hero Rises is, I think, January, February, somewhere in there, for next CYL's voting. The Hero Fests that I'm talking about are Golden Week, and I believe they're somewhere around May. I'd have to check on the exact calendar for that. I don't keep track of it until it's coming up, but it's basically a few months before the next Choose Your Legends banner. Whew, good stuff though. Yeah, personal merge project is going to be Corrin. Gulveg as well, I think. Soren and Robin are going to be my extra support options in the barracks. I can never have too many of those. And they're really good, too. I think whoever you end up picking is going to be great. I think if you just want to pick a single freebie out of this and ignore the rest, I would definitely go for Soren or Robin as your freebie. I would personally lean more towards Soren between the two, especially if you have a really built-up, say, infantry melee specialist. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I thought it was... Yeah, I'm getting mixed up. Hero Rises, I think it is in January, isn't it? It's somewhere, it's very early on in the new year. And then we get to vote on it, there's the voting gauntlet, and then that comes up around March-ish. I wouldn't count on any of the Brave Heroes being on the Hero Rises banners. There are obviously crazy things that can happen, like this this year saw Fallen Edelgard of all units making it into the top 8, but I think the top 4 is usually going to be for premium seasonals or legendaries or mythics. I don't think we're going to see many normal pool units make it into there. Oh, and rearmed units, of course. Yeah, good stuff, though. Really liking the look of this, and I mentioned it earlier, but this banner is making me very grateful that I have a bank of rearmed Ophelias and Fallen Robins, or Grimas, I guess, rearmed Grimas, to start duplicating skills with. I might force myself to sacrifice one Corrin to duplicate those skills because it would be really nice to get those on other characters. But I'm really going to have to talk myself into that. Definitely going to try and get one of each, I think. I have orbs enough to go for 2 or 3 sparks without pushing anything, so I should be able to get one of each in there. I don't know if I'm going to do a stream for that summoning session. I might. If I do, it'll be this Wednesday. But yeah, looking forward to pulling on this. Hopefully I get lucky. Really hoping I get better luck on this debut than I did last year. Last year was really awkward. I think I got my 2 merge projects to +2 by the end of 4 sparks, which felt really bad. So yeah, hopefully get a little bit better luck this year. But it's important to mention Umbreon too that you don't necessarily need an infantry melee for this to work with Soren. You can use any unit type with him, and they'll turn into a savior of that weapon type's range. GT4, that's Robin's, right? Let me see. Oh, you mean Gambit, right? I could see it being good for Diamant, although Diamant is going to turn off half of the skill's effect. He is going to negate the %DR that he would get from the skill, so I don't know if you'd want to give it to Diamant, although the extra true damage he gets could be useful. I'm having visions of an Ignis Diamant showing up with Gambit 4 and just doing an absurd amount of true damage. But that is all he would get out of it, is the offensive half of the skill. Yeah, really like this. Overall, I think it's going to be a solid CYL. I think that whichever units you end up going for in this banner should have enough utility and strength to carry them through the coming year, possibly the coming 2 years. Don't worry, Regan, I know you called me out on it recently. I forgot it too, that he disables %DR for himself, so... Yes, Umbreon. Corrin would be an Omnisave unit if you pair her with Soren. Because she's, as long as you keep Farsave on her as a C-slot, she would be an Omnisave unit. It's actually very cool that you mentioned that, because I don't know that Omnisave is the best way to go for that, but what you could do for her is turn Corrin into a melee save, and use Soren for it, and then give Corrin a different C-slot, which she could use. Like, let's say you give her Panic Smoke 4. Suddenly she's got access to Penalty Doubler, and can give it to her allies, in the middle of all of that, while still functioning as a melee savior. And you can do that with any unit, too. Yeah, I think Soren's going to be... I think, personally, if I was only going to use the free pull and not summon anything on this banner, I would take Soren. I think that if your typical playstyle doesn't involve much in the way of tanking, I think Robin is probably your best one of. I think Gulveg is great if you like her, and if you like hit and run approaches. She's going to be very strong for those, and she's also going to be a pretty solid merge project. Corrin obviously is going to want every point of stats you can funnel into her, so I think if you would like to pick up Corrin, it's probably best to turn her into a long-term merge project at least, and just try and level her up over time. Just first impressions for all of them. Yeah, so thank you to everyone who's tuned in for this. Hopefully it's been a little bit insightful for all of you. I hope I've been able to help people figure out the banner and what's going on here, and what you'd like to go for, pull-wise. Feel free to comment too, let me know what you're going for and how your pulls go. I hope everybody who's pulling on this has good luck on it. We should be getting a solid pile of tickets to use, so the first spark shouldn't be too expensive to get to. We will be getting 4 sparks, as usual, for CYL, so if you have enough orbs and are willing to go for it, you will be able to get all 4 of these units no matter what. Yeah, Robin will feed really well into a player phase style Umbreon, especially since he's giving all of his nearby allies special acceleration and +5 to stats that you really can't do anything to deny. It's gonna be good stuff. So yeah, thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. It's looking like a really great CYL this year, and I hope everybody has something to be excited for. I know I'm definitely excited for Corrin, Sorin. Gulfight's gonna be a lot of fun, again, especially after this last week with using a hit-and-run legendary Shez. And Robin's gonna be great too. All of them have a lot of really cool options to use, and I'm looking forward to exploring them. Hope all of you have good luck again with your summons, and yeah. Good luck with your AR matches too. By the way, I am going to have an AR video posted on Tuesday and Thursday this week, so stuff to look forward to. They're not going to have the individual matches narrated, I'm just trying to catch up a bit. But they're fairly straightforward matches overall, so there's not too much explanation required for them. But yeah, stuff to look forward to. I may also be streaming my summoning session this Wednesday. I'm going to consider that, but I think I might do that. It'll be about 500 orbs worth of summons, and hopefully we get lucky. So, until next time, take care everybody, have a good night, good luck with your summons or whatever other games you're playing, and I will see you all next time.